We want to hear from you as well, but we also want to hear from all angles and see how we can put things in perspective while, of course, you respond. Now, I have via the telephone Comrade Ayodele Adewale. He is at the Organising Secretary of the All Progressives Congress Lagos State Chapter. He was a former chairman of Amowodofin local government area, and I would say he has been one strong member of the All Progressives Congress family. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So, sir, I don't know if you tuned in early enough to hear what your principal...
Yes, I did. I listened to all of the submission that you exposed us to.
Yes.
I'm following you, quite frankly.
All right, thank you. Now, the question I want to ask is, after he ruled out yesterday, critics have already come to say that he did not specifically state how he intends to curb corruption. He did not specifically state how he intends to ensure that we have consistent power supply. Critics also asked questions because right there, when he was asked some certain questions, he relayed the questions to some of the delegates that accompanied him there in persons of Femi Gbajabiamila, Dele Alake, and Nasir Al-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State. And so persons asked, does it mean that Tinubu cannot respond to these questions? Why asking those who accompanied him to respond to these questions? And so some persons think that he possibly is not in a proper or right state of mind to express and state strategically what he intends to do and how he intends to go about governing the country. And that is one segment. Also, another question was asked to him, which you heard, where he said, why has he not been attending most town hall meetings organized by our local media right here in the country? Why he has been declining attending most of those gatherings? And basically what he responded to was that he sees himself as a marketable brand, and so he doesn't want to be used as a means for money to be made. I need you to exacerbate on most of these responses right there.
Thank you once again. First and foremost, let us try to dissect the structure of Chattam House.
All right.
Chattam House is a platform, is a place where ideological people of cerebral minds, people of innovation tend to gather to think deep and prefer solution to contemporary issues and see how these issues can be solved or how issues can be brought to the front burner for a lot of people to participate in. So Chattam House does not relatively have a monolithic stream of response or aggregate on pattern of you handle your matter when they bring you to such place. And I'll make an example. Take, for instance, let's say you have an ideological person that is deaf. Right? Such person, when you have a medium of communication, let's say you have a blind person coming to Chattam House to also put his position. These people are human beings. I've only brought some angles to it. Now, if an idealistic person now decide to use a team approach in the way Asiwaju have used his, and to connote that, look, I'm coming with my team. Whatever question you put before me will be addressed by the team, right?
Yes.
We need a team approach to solve Nigerian problems. It's not about being an orator or being someone who have come to lecture people. It's about lecturing. Solving Nigerian problems about lecturing. It's about bringing aggregates of brains, heads that have come together as a collegiate in a team. So him being the lead team person driving the system, and you are asking him a question. There is no law of the Chattam House that says that he cannot bring one of his team to take that question head on. Remember that he also answered a lot of questions by himself, especially questions that relate to the youth and that relate to education and other questions that he also answered. You understand? So that is his his own approach, right? It's an ingenuity. It's a very wonderful pattern that he has brought on board. So it is now left for idealists to look at the submission of what they have brought to Chattam House in that discussion to see how this a way forward solution that they have brought together as a team will solve contemporary Nigerian problems. I think that is what we should look at and not be distracted by people who feel that walking the talk in Nigeria, solving the Nigerian problem, must always come from a particular person.
All right. Another question I want to ask you is this. For example, you heard when Atiku Abubakar, while at the campaign yesterday, says the way he is going to ensure that we have strong power generation and how we'll start having consistent fuel distribution within the country. He says the way he's going to do that is by selling the refineries, and that's basically how he would get the fund to fund it. But, you know, questions like that, how, when you bring out the challenges and then you now say, okay, these are the ways you would, you know, resolve it. These are the ways you're going to try to put things properly, make things work. And that's what Nigerians are trying to ask. Realistically, how would he resolve some of these issues? So he doesn't address it most times when he attends any of the public forums or any of the campaign grounds when he needs to talk. And then another thing I would like you to also extemporate on better is this.
And can you take it question by question?
Okay,
because
fine.
I don't have a pen and paper with me.
All right, okay, fine. So the question is this. He doesn't state how he intends to resolve most of the challenges. Most of the time when he attends public forums, he just generalizes. And I use an instance of Atiku Abubakar saying that he's going to sell the refineries to get money through which we're going to have proper generation of electricity and have consistent fuel distribution in the country once he privatizes the refineries. He has all given how he intends to resolve that challenge. Now, for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when questions like this are posed, there are no strategic responses on how he intends to resolve these challenges. And so I need you to talk about that.
Madam, with the profoundest of respect, you see, your question is becoming a narrative, right? I would have preferred that it be in bullet points.
Yes.
But again, I do understand what you're talking about.
Yes.
I will give you one or two instances just to manage time. When Asiwaju was talking about education, right, he gave solution to solving the educational crisis by providing infrastructure, creating training, and also making sure that the academic institution become autonomous.
Yes.
Autonomous to the extent that they can create on their own and the gagging be removed from their necks. He also talked about how he's going to fund it. He also spoke about how students will get access to loans. I believe those are solutions.
Okay.
They're not just talking, right?
Yes.
It is far better than you coming to sell the commonwealth of the people.
Okay.
Take, for instance, the Buhari administration. The Buhari administration signing in the new law in the petroleum industry have helped the private sector to come on board and working with the existing structure in order to reform it and make it more accountable. I believe that system is better than you selling the commonwealth of the people that the founding fathers of this country are put to being, the future generation of this country should benefit from. You are selling it out, you understand, to individual. And this individual, again, can come together and create an economy that the common man would not be able to survive in, because they will determine the price, they will determine the system, and if it's not people-friendly, then what happens to the people, right? Now, NNPC have started mopping up some privately owned companies in order to rework them and make it function better for the people. You can see what has happened to Orlando. They are filling station all around, right? They are not performing very well. The new NNPC that is run jointly by the private and the public sector have taken over the filling station, and they've been rebranded, been reworked. Do you understand? For the benefit of the Nigerian people. And the public sector, the Nigerian people has higher shares in this corporation. Is that not better for ownership? Is that not better for the Nigerian people? Is that not better for our country as a whole? Remember that there are still some sundry sectors that the government will still have to put a lot of palliative in. Now, if you sell it off, where will the government get funds to inject palliative into these sectors? So the article solution is draconian, is anti-people, right? If you allow such person to get into governance, one day they will sell Nigeria off, and the people of Nigeria will become slaves in Nigeria.
Now, Mr. Comrade Ayodele, do you know why I actually called you? I called you because I needed your objectivity in responding to these questions, and that's what you're giving. That's basically what I wanted. You have been able to contextualize. That's why I asked that question. It wasn't a narrative. It was just to clear certain, like you said, clear certain narrative, certain thoughts out there concerning the way some things have been done or some statements that have been made. Now, let me bring you to another question. So, he was asked right there at the Chatham House why he has not responded to any of the town hall meetings, or rather, coming physically to attend to any of the town hall meetings to respond to questions by journalists on how he intends to resolve most of the challenges currently going on in the country. And he said that he considers himself a brand and doesn't want anyone to use him to make money. Do you think that response was adequate enough, to that question that was asked?
The response was very objective.
Okay.
Madam, I believe I've known your station for quite a while.
Yes.
And I've known your person for quite a while. To be a very objective journalist, you do not have any underpinning to your questions or to how you run your station, despite the fact that your station is privately owned and all of that. And I do also, as a human being, should have liberty to either reject your invite to your program if I see that there are some underpinning, you understand, at the back end that do not portray objectivity or liberal space for discussion. You will give me that right to either accept your invitation or not. You called me barely about 30 minutes ago, and when you told me what you wanted to do, I said, let's go on. Right?
Yes.
I by now I should be on the road going for a meeting. But I consider this discourse as a national duty in order to clear the airwaves so that fake news will not be accepted as real news by some people. And I agree to come on board. But if I have sensed that there are underpinning that can dissuade or can pollute the stream of people getting real facts, then I would not want to join in that trajectory. So I think we should give Asiwaju the liberty to choose which platform he wants to use in putting his information forward. He also have other platforms that he can use. The basic equator is to make sure that the programs that the APC has are programs that can rebrand the Nigerian concept, that can solve contemporary problems in Nigeria, that can empower the youth, that can empower women, that can provide for partnership, foreign investment, direct investment, that can create jobs, that can rework our economy for better. I wouldn't want to delve too much into what can also create a flashpoint. But Asiwaju has made his point that he has the liberty to choose whichever platform. Remember that Asiwaju did attend the Arewa Consultative Forum when they invited a lot of if not all, the candidates the presidential candidate of various political parties. He went there, right? Now, if a union, say the NLC, decide to hold a debate, I can assure you Asiwaju will be there. If the NMA decide to hold a debate, I can assure you that Asiwaju will be there. If the Guild of Editors decides to hold a debate, I can assure you that Asiwaju will be there. But not when there is perception around a particular medium. Then you give the person the liberty to either accept or decline.
Fine. Thank you so much, Comrade Ayodele Adewale. He is the Organizing Secretary of the All Progressives Congress Lagos State Chapter. He's actually quite intelligent, and you can see how he was able to put the questions that I asked in perspective. Thank you so much, sir, for being part of the program this morning. I need to release you so you can go for your meeting, but you can, continue to monitor the conversation. Thank you so much. All right. So now the question I want to put out to you, based on what Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu said yesterday at the Chattam House and his responses to the questions that were asked at him. The first one being that he asked that his delegates should respond. And what is your perspective to that? Right, you heard the comrade say that Asiwaju wanted to project the fact that he has a strong-minded intellectual team that is ready to carry on the job of putting things in place, especially trying to put structure in